What's up, everybody? It's your boy ShowtimeDr. So, this is going to be your child guide, your character guide, what you can do with them, synergies, things you should look out for, currencies, etc. So, we'll get into it here. Now we'll use Dana as the guinea pig today. So, when you get your character, briefly I'll go over the stats real quick. Power, you know, that's just the generic combined power number all Japanese gachas gotta have for some reason. It's misleading, it's dumb. You know, it's the look at my huge penis type number that people like to do. HP is HP, attack, defense, etc. Agility in this game affects dodge rate and critical strike chance, that's right there. Agility, nothing affects turn speed as far as stats go. Now, your character is going to be of a certain type. So in this case, Dana, she's actually the best tank in the game at the moment. She's a light defender. There's your level versus max level. Children can get up to 6 stars, so I'm guessing they can max at 60. When you promote someone a star level, it actually resets their level, but it doesn't reset their stats, if that makes sense. So their stats all stay the same, but they're now level 1 6-star once you promote them, but we'll get into that later. And then there's gear here, so real quick we'll go over this gear. Here's your XP bar. Gear is basically, it's important. Why the fuck do I have attack on her? That's funny. I think that was the only 4-star I had at the time. Yep, well, that's gonna stay on her then for now. Because she's not a taunt tank, so as long as she just stays up, it doesn't really matter. So you can enhance your gear, you know, like most gacha games, you sacrifice other gear, and then it'll level it, etc. You're spending your gold currency to do it. I've never maxed a gear. I'm guessing 15 is the max on gear that I've seen, so that's what I'm gonna guess the max is. And the stat upgrades, you know, like if this is 490 right now, when you get a level, it'll go up like 12 or 16 or something, so. Gear can have up to 2 stats on it from what I've seen. Maybe there's mythical gear or something that can have 3 stats. But that's pretty much how gear works. You got your weapons, you got your armor. When you max level a child at her star ranking, you unlock accessory. Is that how it works? Yeah. S-class. So you might have to get 5-star actually, I'm not sure. No, because I did it with a 4-star hero. So when you get S-class, we'll go over classes in a bit. Combine, right here. This is where you can sacrifice your fodders. It's better, like, if I had some light fodder, that would give her more XP, but you can sacrifice your fodder and then level them up this way. When you get a level, the stat bonuses, you know, it's like 16, 8, nothing super huge, but every bit counts. So that's how Combine works. Now your skills, there's 2 facets to this. We'll go over the first facet. Number 1, you use Onyx, which is your currency right here. You use Onyx. Hold on, I gotta turn this song down. It's killing me. Okay. You use Onyx to, you know, maybe it's down too much now. Okay. Level up your skills. There's other stuff. We'll go over what it does later. The first skill is always going to be an auto attack, from what I've seen for the most part. Second skill, deals 628 gain debuff immunity for 3 seconds. That's pretty strong for a single target. And then her third, this is why everyone likes her, essentially puts a barrier on the entire team and increases their defense by X amount the more you level it up. So as you get this, you see rank 1. Eventually it'll start at 1 to 10. You can get it to 10 to 10. Now, there is a way to go beyond that, and I believe we'll go over that later, though, but that's basically how this works. There's also, this is the super ability, all the characters have them. And this is the leadership buff. Leadership buff, you select them as leader, it does that. You know, synergy, bonus defense for light heroes if you want that for your leadership. And so then, real quick before I get to the others, let's just go over uncap. So uncap is if you get a copy of a character, they'll be here and you select them and then you uncap them for a certain amount of gold. When you uncap a character, it'll have a +1 by their name. So let's see if I can find somebody. Oh yeah, it was right there. So Midas right here, you see this +1. Well, that means that if you notice with his skills, they are rank 2 10 of 10 versus rank 1 10 of 10. So as you uncap these skills, you essentially improve, or excuse me, you uncap and then you can level up your child's skills 10 more times with the same currency, so their skills all get additional multipliers. That is preferable to evolving your child to 6-star early, because, well, A, you gotta max their level anyways, and that takes a while, but B, you want to use your copies to uncap just because skills being higher is a little bit more important than their level being a bit higher. And I know that doesn't make sense compared to most gacha games, but the higher your skills are, you know, all these percentages go up. So this is going to be additional damage, this is going to be a higher percentage defense, higher base damage, etc. So you want all that for all your characters, by the way, to be higher skills. And evolution is what I was talking about. If you want to increase your child's, once you got them uncapped all the way, you want to increase your child's star level. That's how you do it. And then awaken. Awaken is Onyx. So Onyx, that's the same currency you use to skill up. When you get the certain level thresholds, like in this case, the next one for me is going to be level 35. Once I get there with her, I can buy these additional level up things. Now what these do, there's no way to show you. Well, let me find someone else that's capable, and then I'll look at them. So let's see, I gotta get to one of my level 30. Maybe her, let's see. Yeah, okay, so say I wanted to awaken Vesta. So awakening, when you click on the class ranks here, it's going to tell you, okay, they're going to go up by this many stats, and it's always all their stats. This is how much it's going to cost. If you want to do it, you hit awaken. And it's generally pretty good, but you got to get to certain level thresholds. Well, but also, if you notice, see how this is a D class? So right now she's D class. If I want to, I can come over here and purchase these additional stat boosts. And what that's going to do, not only does it give stat boosts, but it's going to unlock certain voices. Voices, that's all just literal voices in the game you can go mess with. But for the most part, like, it has nothing to do with stats. That's just like cosmetic style stuff. But you can awaken anything. So since she's D rank right now, I can awaken both of these. If I upgraded her to C rank, I could awaken both of these, and etc. B rank, both of these, A rank, both of these, till you eventually get her to S rank. And once you get her to S rank, then you can go ahead, you can, hold on. You know, like, say she's pretty good, and you want to use her, then you can uncap her. And you just need another copy, etc. But then what you want to do, though, is use the unbindings. And keep doing that, but... Or not unbinding, sorry, the uncappings. To be honest, unbinding, I've never messed with that. Oh, you can split them back up into multiple children, apparently. Okay. And then that takes their max skill level down, so... Not sure why you would do that, but if someone wants to explain that to me, let me know. But essentially, that's what you do with your characters, so that's all the skill ups and stuff, and... passive stat increases, etc. Now, let me see here. Now I'm gonna go over synergies. There is a tier list. There's a couple tier lists, but there's a Japanese or a Korean tier list, but they have some characters we don't have, etc. There's also a global tier list for now. I'll just go over some of the characters that I have and why they're good. Because I can't show you every character, because I obviously don't have every character. But like I said, Dana right here. There is a free... I put in my other video. There is a free... You can get any 6-star, or 5-star rather, you want on a website. Go check the new player guide. I'll leave a link to it too in the title info here. And you can see that. But essentially, I'll go over what all these characters do right now. So Dana, she's the best tank in the game. She's not a provoke tank. There are provoke tanks in the game. But she gives everyone a big fat shield, and she increases survivability like crazy. And she's pretty tanky herself. This guy, Midas, right here, he's a pretty good debuffer. There's multiple debuffers in the game. This guy in particular, he debuffs defense percentage, so he can bring defense down a little bit. Like, let me show you the skills here. So ignore defense for him personally, and then weak point defense, minus 18.8% defense for 14 seconds when he does that. This one's 14.8. He also has a leader buff that does it as well, so he's pretty good for that. There's multiple debuffers in the game. I went over that in the character intro. But this guy, he debuffs that. There's ones that debuff skill speed, healing, percentage, attack, speed, etc. So this guy, Frigge, he's one of the better DPSers in the game. Essentially, he can buff his own crit, which is pretty nice right here. Gain crit rate. And he just does a butt ton of damage, so he's pretty good. So if you notice, all the symbols are here. So the shield is a tank symbol, skull is a debuffer symbol, swords is an attacker symbol, this is a buffer symbol right here. This is actually, Sunny is actually the best skill gauge buffer in the game. There's multiple buffers in the game as well. But you see here, you know, cooldown minus to allies, priority highest attack, grant skill charge rate, bonus speed, etc. And her 2 does a similar thing. There are also people that increase attack, people that increase defense. Like my tank actually crosses over into buffer a little bit. She increases defense as well as puts up a shield. I forget there's another one. Let me go look at it real quick. What are the other ones? Okay, so there is... Oh, there's one that also... There's skill gauge, there's damage and critical, and then there's shield, defense, and recover. So recover means that you get bonus healing, etc. More defense, puts up a shield, etc. But Change, or Change, however you say, Change, she's better. She's the best in the game right now at charging up skill gauges. Now Lita, everyone gets Lita. You get her eventually once you unlock her in the storyline. Lita's really good. So you should definitely use Lita unless you get one of the better healers. There's only 2 right now that are technically better. But if you see here, she can grant a barrier. And then she also heals, puts a regen. Most of the heals in this game are regen based. There's also lifesteal, etc. But we'll go over that another time. But you see here, regen to 2 allies, priority lowest health, etc. Bonus regen just all around, so... She's pretty good, so when you get her early game, if you're a newer player, definitely use her. A couple other heroes here. Oh, also, the wing is a buffer. That's what the wing symbol is. Let me see here. I'm trying to find... This guy right here, he's actually a pretty good, not the best, but a pretty good attack buffer. You see here, bonus attack for 1 random ally, and then bonus attack for highest attack ally on his tap skill, etc. So, and there's a couple other people like that, but I won't go too into who's what. But so what I want to talk about now is synergy. There are a lot of things you can cover in this game. So you see with this team, what I've covered. I'll just go over what I covered with this team. I have somebody that puts up... I have 2 people, actually, that put up shields. But most notably is my tank, Dana. Shields for the entire party, so damage absorption. And she also increases defense by a flat amount for the entire party, which makes her best tank in the game. Just super sexy. Now this guy, he is simultaneously doing decent damage, not great damage, as well as, let me just go over to him, Midas, as well as decreasing the defense of, you know, whoever we're focusing, hopefully, by a percentage, so that's good. This guy, he's literally just here, he buffs his own crit rate, and he kills things. That's why I need him for. This girl, she is simultaneously doing not terrible damage, not great damage, but also buffing the skill charge rate of my 2 biggest DPSers, which are going to be these 2. So that's pretty cool, because the faster you're getting your skills off, really important in PvP and really important in just in general, but especially PvP. And then Lita. Lita is bringing up, actually Lita on the end here. She is bringing up, she's healing the team. She's also puts up, I think, like a random shield, which can help on occasion. But she's mostly there to heal the team. So that's what she does. So those are the things I've chosen to cover with that team. Now, occasionally I switch this team out. You can also have multiple teams here when you mess it up, but these are just mainly people I'm leveling to help out eventually once I get more characters built up. Now, the things that I don't have covered... Well, first let me go over all the things you can possibly cover with all your characters. So your tank, you can have a provoke tank, which Dana is not, or you can have a shield tank. A shield tank generally puts shields out for the entire team, which is nice. A provoke tank is going to taunt everybody and then hopefully have some mitigation to stay alive while he's taking the DPS for X number of seconds. Those are your two choices on tanks. Now, attackers, in general, attackers that can either buff themselves or put out a lot of damage. You know, clearly they're going to be the best. There aren't too many variations in attackers other than the element that they are and, you know, if they have more AoE versus single target. Now, your healers, there is a healer in the game, I actually don't know which one, that revives. And there's also a healer in the game that cleanses. I don't actually know her name. She's a light hero and she has a rose in her hair. That's all I can say. But she's the only hero in the game. Well, her and there's actually another hero that cleanses and heals at the same time, a fire hero, who I don't have right now. But I'll put a link to the tier list so you guys can see their pictures. Lita right here, like I was saying, she is actually... She is said she's a supporter or a buffer, but she's actually a very good healer. So like I'm saying, run her as your early healer if you don't have the two better healers. But there are pure healers in this game that they buff heal amount, and they're very amazing. There are also some cleansers that get rid of debuffs. So there's always that. Now, another thing to focus is... You know what, let me just show you guys what I'm looking at. So this is the guide I was going over earlier. This is the global tier list. Now, there's Lita right there. We'll get the buffers. And like I said, skill gauge, damage critical, and shield defense recovery. Now, you'll see some people on the edge. That means that they kind of cross over into both a little bit. Like you can come back over here and see, well, this character, she can heal and cleanse, etc. So be paying attention to that, because people that can do multifaceted things like Dana are pretty good. And then you got your debuffers, and that's the end of the tier list. So weaken, reduce defense. Like I said, he's decent. There's one guy that's better at it than him. Skill gouge and abnormal status debuff. Skill gouge debuff means that they're going to charge their skills slower, which is a godsend in PvP. But just in general, raid bosses, etc. Abnormal status, that's things like... you know, their attack goes down, or poison, that type of thing, dots, etc. This girl, she can do dots and things like reduce attack or whatever's going on. That's what reduce performance is about. Healing reduction, etc. So that's what these characters are. This is the global tier list, the higher they are, but the tier list is not the end-all be-all, guys, of everything. And what do I mean by that? Well, there are certain raids, or the raid that's up right now is, the first 20 levels of the raid you're fighting against water characters, and after that you are fighting against, whatever, grass or wind or whatever the hell it is in this game. That fire does bonus damage to water, but water does bonus damage to fire, etc. Well... You are going to want to have a team, if you want to get the, you know, best DPS and highest survivability, etc. You know, then obviously if you're fighting a full grass team, then you want really strong fire DPSers and fire heroes, etc. And that team synergy where whatever leadership you're going to run, it's going to affect all fire heroes, or in some cases there's leaderships that just affect all heroes anyways. But etc. So eventually you're going to want some synergy teams to where, you know, mostly fire, all fire, mostly water, etc. And they're going to have to fill all those roles, guys. So for raids, tanking, at least not this current raid I'm doing, doesn't really matter as much. At least not the group raids, the single target, the singles mission stuff, tanking does matter. But, you know, if you can fill the role of tank, DPS, double DPS, debuffer, buffer, or whatever healer, whatever combo you're going to run, that'll be better overall once you get to these raids and you can score higher and clear faster, etc. So just stuff to keep in mind, guys. And as you go to different worlds and maybe you see a PvP team that, oh, they got this attacker, I'm going to run this hero. And there is actually, let me go, this is where 3 and 4 stars become important. Let me see if I could find her. I have a level 33 star, but I forget which one. I believe it's the dark one. Is it her? I think it's her. Legend, so let's look at Legend. She's a 3-star. The crazy thing about her, I was reading a guide on her. The issue with... if you run her in PvP, which you can actually do if you get her buff enough, the main advantage that she's going to have in PvP versus most heroes is her skill gauge, her super skill gauge, charges faster than most heroes. And in PvP... I mean, it's about damage and staying up, but it's also about how quickly you can get your ultimate off. So if she can get her stuff off really quick... again, I haven't, like, leveled her or anything, for the most part, because I haven't gotten... I'm not there yet on who I'm investing in. But just keep in mind, people that can charge up their skills faster, they're going to get their damage out more, they're going to potentially kill a character faster in PvP, etc. If you got these synergy teams... you know, you're gonna have to start paying attention to stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. And there's all the different modes. But essentially, you're looking at, do you want to run like a full holy team, grass team, etc.? Who's gonna buff which heroes? And there's certain heroes that synergize well with each other. Like, for instance, this fire guy. I run him normally when I don't need a tank. I'll kick Dana out. But this guy, Hermes, right here, he actually buffs attack. So in a longer battle, like a raid battle, as long as I'm not in danger of dying, well, what do I need to run my tank for? She's doing less DPS, we don't need the shield, etc. Let's go ahead and run this guy. He's going to be buffing my primary DPSers, and we're going to get more damage out as a whole. So it's good to run this guy with, you know, like Frege or someone else, someone that can't necessarily get bonus attack, etc. But he's going to do really good, you see here, attack plus 10 versus fire types. So if you got a real good fire DPS, that's going to go really well. But then, like I said before, my DPS can buff his own crit rate. But maybe you have a DPS that does really good DPS, but they need someone else to buff their crit rate. So that's when you go and you get the buffers that do that. And then there's an argument to be made on why this guy's a little bit lower on the tier list than some of the other DPSers is because he wastes time buffing his crit rate. And technically he's doing damage and stuff, and it's still nice to have him buff his crit rate, but if I can get someone else to cover that role, well, what if I get 2 really big DPS things going on? Then I don't have to worry about him buffing himself because someone else can buff him. Or vice versa, maybe double buff is going to get him at 100% crit rate. You know, certain things you got to consider with characters. And so that's just all stuff you guys got to keep in mind. The synergy is going to be just as important with the tier list. And I don't know every synergy at the moment right now, but it's not hard if you read the skills. You'll be like, okay, you know, this guy gets Vamp, which is a lifesteal in this game, like 2% Vamp or X amount of Vamp, whatever. And, well, if you run him with the healer that has bonuses to healing effects, well, Vamp can hit a lot harder and probably keep your team up more, and then you're going to get farther in the Devil's Fiesta and etc., all those modes. So, just little things like that, guys. Just consider it. There's guides on who's good with who, etc. And I'm still learning them all myself, but, you know, don't sleep on 4- and 3-star heroes, because there are some of them that are actually pretty good. Like, for instance, this girl right here, Shining Yuna's not bad. As a fire DPSer, I can run her in raids if I buff her up a little bit more. Who else here? Literally, I built her up just because I like the way she looks. This girl right here, she's actually pretty decent buffer. You get her in storyline, I think, after you clear the 4th world. But you see here, bonus attack for all enemies. Has a leadership that's bonus attack to all enemies, and highest attack gets a skill charge amount buff. You know, there are people that can do her job better, but if you have her, she's not bad to have. This girl, I believe she was a decent attacker. Not like a great attacker, but decent. And this girl, we went over her earlier, etc. So, but anyways, that's pretty much all I want to go over on characters. You know, like I said, if you're still running the double Fiesta stuff, well, if you notice, one of the things is to get 3-star children to their max level in order to get the challenges met. So you got to work on them anyways, so you might as well do that. Now, easiest way to skill characters up, I'll go over that real quick. Level them up, etc. Just go to storyline, you see that there's hot time. And just find the hot time with the XP bonus. So in this case, it's right here, World 4-6. And you just click on that, you go to whatever the hardest thing your children can handle is. And say your children are lower level, they can't handle 4-6, then you just find whatever the next lower one is. So in this case, it's going to be 1-8. So you just run 1-8 over and over and over. You could leave it on auto. And then just max level them. And you can do that with all your children early game because you have all this extra energy. You're going to keep leveling and getting bonus energy from all the rewards and stuff. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I'll leave a link to both of the tier lists in the description, as well as a couple of the 3-star heroes that you should look out for and who they get replaced with if you happen to get them. But which ones will be useful to your team, like you don't just level them to level them unless you're into that type of thing, like you like how a character looks, etc., like I said earlier. And that's pretty much it, guys. You know, as far as items you're going to want to run, your DPS, you're always going to want to run attack crit if you can handle it. If you can't do that, as high attack as you can get, as well as agility or HP, or excuse me, agility, because agility is going to give you a little bit of dodge rate, which, you know, helps keep them up a little bit more. But attack crit when you can, though. Try to get attack crit when you can. Defense, just try to get your HP as high as you can for the most part, because only run high defense on attackers if you have someone that buffs defense, like Dana, so etc. But normally you're going to want their HP as high as possible, and same thing goes. Accessory is kind of like, it's the same basic thing. Get their attack and their crit as high as you can. On your tankers, if they're provoke tanks, get their HP, defense, and agility as high as you can. Everything else is gravy after that. Supporters, if your supporter does decent attack, you know, work on their attack, get their attack up a little bit, but definitely get their HP and defense up. Crit rate for them, it's whatever. It can be good, it can't be. But the most important thing is you want your supporters to survive, so I usually just give them agility so that they can dodge a little bit more. And etc. Same thing with your buffers and your debuffers. If your debuffers and your buffers happen to hit hard, give them attack crit, that's fine. You know, but you want them to survive as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I hope this video helped you guys out as far as building your characters. Keep in mind synergies, tier lists, etc. And hopefully you'll get some OP as hell characters. Also, there's the 6-star, or excuse me, 5-star choose your own character website event. I'll leave a link to that as well in the title info. Check that out. If it doesn't work on your computers, it's probably an ad block thing. Just go do it on mobile. Should be fine. And that's it, guys. So let me know if I missed anything, or if you need some help otherwise. And I will catch you guys later on. Peace.